Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so we just had some more news today from JP. Obviously we had all the new Trunks and Goten information come out earlier, but this has just been posted around. I've literally just seen it, so I thought I would record. The Trunks and Goten stuff came out while I was asleep, and I generally don't like to bother covering news if it's like hours after the fact. But yeah, so physical Super Saiyan 3 GOTENKS is going to be the next 120 leader to get his EZA. This is going to be very interesting because if we have a look at the physical one over here, obviously the wiki is half updated because we know what his leader skill will be at the very least. But yeah, like a lot of the older 120 leaders, this guy did not age super well, mainly because he didn't have any defense. And then, of course, for the first few turns, he actually has even less defense. So he was a unit that, when he first came out, he definitely could hit really hard, but he was definitely not the best defensively. So if we have a look at the tech one over here, he was the same. Obviously, he came out a long time ago. He was the 70% tech leader. And defense was not really a huge part of the meta. So attack 120% at the time was actually, you know, pretty good. But he too became outdated very quickly. So with his EZA, they gave him a little bit extra attack, and then they gave him defense when key is 11 or less. So if you wanted to go for his 12 key super attack, you wouldn't get that little bit of defense. This was kind of a weird mechanic, I think, to me. I was never super hyped about his EZA because on certain teams, at least before the link level update, when you could actually get like double key links, on Fusion or Super Saiyan 3, it was really difficult to only get 11 key with him. So the link update did change that significantly, but it also means when key is X or less or higher, passives are always calculated when it's that unit's turn to attack, which means if you put him in slot 1, any attacks before he gets to go, this won't come into play even if you had got an 11 key. So I'm not a huge fan of this type of thing. One thing they did fix was the fact that his 12 key super did extreme damage. Other than the 11 was always the one you wanted to go for. Massively raises attack and does immense damage. And then they made it so that the 12 key at least did supreme damage, which I think was mainly just to help out the fact that there were so many situations where you couldn't avoid getting 12 key and then he just didn't hit very hard. So his update was okay. Now, obviously, with the 120 leaders, the range has been pretty broad, right? We've seen units like Super 17 and Ink Gogeta get really good EZAs, and then Super Saiyan 3 Broly's is obviously not very good. Janemba's kind of middle of the road, I think. Cooler we're still really looking forward to. I'm personally really looking forward to seeing what Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku is going to do as well. But this GOTENKS, they've got a lot of options with him. So one thing that we've talked about before, and we've talked about it on the podcast over on 5.9, is the fact that when a unit has a negative trait, they haven't removed that completely with an EZA. So like Super Saiyan 3 Broly still loses defense when you pick up orbs. He just doesn't lose as much defense. So that leads me to believe that they're probably not going to completely get rid of this, which is annoying because it is the worst part of his passive. They could shorten it to like maybe 4 turns. It would still be kind of annoying. Maybe drop it to like 25% for 4 turns. I guess that would be okay. And then they'll obviously, I assume, like they did with the tech one, they'll bump this up a little bit. And then I think what they should do, if they want to keep this defense debuff for the first few turns, they should give him defense in his passive. So even if it, like, this is kind of like a ideal scenario, this is what I would like to see. But if they gave him like attack and defense 130%, and then he has defense like minus 7% for, minus 30% for 7 turns, that would be okay, because obviously he's getting this extra attack buff as well. So I get the whole point behind it, right? It's supposed to be the explosion of power from GOTENKS going to Super Saiyan 3, does a whole bunch of extra damage, but he's not very good defensively. So in the current meta, if they don't even change this at all, I mean, obviously they need to give him some defense, otherwise he's going to get clapped. But this attack part here, if they don't change this at all, even with EZA stats and everything, like, he's going to be hitting insanely hard. So they really need to give him some defense to back him up. and then I guess it will weigh into the balance. Like if he still gets an attack boost and a defense debuff, it will be okay, because it's at least mitigating some defense that he already has. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. He's definitely going to hit insanely hard. Like if you get his 11 key super, he is going to be doing a ton of damage. And obviously alongside the new Goten and Trunks that just came out, he shares a lot of links with them. You know, they have the whole thing where if you're using them in the first slot and using their active skill and all those other things, they can help out the rest of the rotation. So this guy's going to look super, super good on their team. So one thing to bear in mind as well about his EZA, so this is the EZA event for the tech one. Whenever a unit with the same name, even if it's from a later meta, has then gotten an EZA, they've used the same weakness team. So Gogeta, for example, it's movie bosses for both. The Kid Buu, when the Int one finally got his EZA, it was Pure Saiyans, which is what the physical one was originally. So you can almost put money on the fact that it's going to be youth again for the new Gotenks. Now, that's going to be interesting for the event. Obviously, once we find out for sure, I will do a team building guide, because those always go over pretty well, always have pretty positively received. But the one thing that definitely strikes me straight away is the fact that the two main Dokkan Fest leaders for the youth category are both Int. So once you get to the later stages, if they're catching a super attack, you are going to take quite a lot of damage. But both the Goku and the Gotenks are really good. I've talked about Goku a lot for EZA events because he is really good. You can't heal, and so obviously it's quite easy to drop below that HP restriction, and then he gets to fire off an active skill for a bunch of damage and guaranteed crits on his follow-up attacks. So if we look at STR, because there's no way they're going to make STR the units that deal decreased damage, B-Pan's going to be super useful because obviously in an EZA, as I say, you can't heal, so she's going to get you a ton of HP back. This UR STR Pan is actually pretty good as well, and her linked up with the B-Pan is actually going to be a very strong rotation in this event. Then we have units like Family Kamehameha Goten, the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who got his EZA. Both of these are units who are nowhere near like top tier on a lot of the teams you can run them on, but in this event they are going to be really good. And then this Goten, the Saiyaman, they're decent free-to-play options. Same with the Namek Gohan. The STR Gotenks are okay. And then I think the problem from there is it then determines, it's all going to be based on what typings they decide are the ones that do decreased damage. Because like if Tech isn't one of them, you can bring this guy who's an absolute beast. If AGL isn't one of them, there's a whole lot of LRs. If they don't give AGL a damage reduction, I mean just these top 4 units, that team's going to be pretty crazy. And then of course again for Tech you've got like the Trunks is really good, Gohan can give you a free heal, Bulla's a really good support unit, AGL again, you've got some decent supports in here. If you can use AGL units, not only have you got all those LRs, but you can bring Pan the 50% support. This guy is getting his EZA as well, so you could always do that first and then take him into the Gotenks one. Same with the physical Trunks as well. And then of course the new unit themselves, if they don't do physical as one of the typings that gets a damage reduction, this new unit is going to be really good if you pull them. Obviously the EZA, I guess you could technically use the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks himself and just slowly EZA him up as you go through the stages. So a lot of it is going to depend on which typings they decide are the ones that get the damage reduction. But overall, I think the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks one wasn't that difficult. But then, to be fair, as you can see on the screen right now, Int has a lot of really good units, especially now with units like Gotenks and Ghost having his EZA. If they don't make Int excluded, even though you have type disadvantage, some of these units would be really good. But be interesting to see what they decide to do. So there you go. That is going to be Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, the next 120 lead EZA. Let me know down below in the comment section, what do you think his new passive is going to look like? How do you think the EZA event is going to be? What typings do you think they will give the damage reduction to? It's going to be very interesting to see what he becomes, because with the 120 lead EZAs we've got so far, it definitely could be hit and miss is a way you could describe it. So is he going to be a Super Saiyan 3 Broly, or is he going to be a Super 17? It's going going to be interesting to find out. So let me know what you guys think down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.